Throughout Season 3 of Star Trek Picard, Terry Matalas, the showrunner, has been on Twitter trying to temper people's expectations. And I can understand. This is actually, sometimes this is a good problem to have, and this happens in wrestling quite a bit. Being somebody who has a 70,000 subscriber pro wrestling channel, when wrestling fans don't get what they want, they think a certain storyline is going to lead to their favorite being the champion. And it doesn't happen. People get upset. Well, Terry Matalas has been on Twitter telling people, Janeway is not going to happen. She's exclusive property of Prodigy, which I understand that. It is kind of weird that you can't put someone on another show because they're on a different show. I find that bizarre. I would have thought that she would show up in some aspect, but she is mentioned a bit, so that's good. And it also looks like, Cisco won't be part of this either, based on the comments I've seen on Twitter. It could be sort of, people trying to guide us in the wrong direction, but I think it's actually really tempering expectations. This is a TNG story, so the logic here tells me that in the end, we're going to get a TNG story. We're going to get something that we're all familiar with the next generation. Otherwise, it's not fair to the next generation. Will we see some cameos and some references to other Star Treks? Yes. But I think that if you believe that the main resolution or big surprises coming in the last episodes are going to be Deep Space Nine or Voyager heavy, I think you're delusional, because those will be saved for another Star Trek, or if they were to do Star Trek Legacy, which is what Terry Matalas wants to do, Star Trek Legacy, that's when you would tell those stories or try to wrap those stories up or try to get into those things. This is still Star Trek Picard, which is really, this is the TNG send-off. So you wouldn't have the TNG send-off by having the last couple episodes have to do with, somebody from a different series. Otherwise, that's like the Enterprise ending. You know what I mean? That's like Riker and Deanna showing up at the end of Enterprise instead of it being the end of Enterprise. So they're not, I don't believe they're going to do that. So I believe Terry's Twitter, when he's on there saying, that this isn't, don't get your hopes up on, these certain things. So it looks like we're not really going to see Janeway, and we're not going to get Cisco. And I think that makes sense to me, because I would be kind of upset. I do like Deep Space Nine, but I grew up with The Next Generation. I want to see a TNG story. And I think that's what we're probably going to get more than anything. Could there be a couple of twists and turns with some Deep Space Nine references and people? Could the main villain be part of Deep Space Nine? Maybe, but I just think that it makes sense that it's a TNG story in the end. And people with expectations outside of that, I don't know. They're either people that weren't TNG fans or something, or they were like only the Deep Space Nine fans. I don't know why people would think that or want that, based on, what story we're really telling here. So anyway, that's my 2 cents about this whole thing. I think that if you realize it's a TNG story, then you'll do a lot better. But if you're building some kind of crazy thing about, Janeway's going to save the day and then Cisco's going to show up and stop everybody through the wormhole or something, and these type of things, I think you're reaching and you're overblowing it. And I think Terry Matalas is trying to temper that on Twitter, because it does stink when you create something and you're like, this is really good, people aren't going to get it, it's going to be quite a crazy thing that's going to happen, it's going to be a twist and, whatever, and, people are going to be guessing, and then you start seeing people guessing, like over-guessing, and you're like, oh, wait a minute, people are starting to expect something way crazier than we did, which probably gives somebody anxiety who's a creator, you know what I mean, because you created something to be really nice and surprising, kind of, and maybe even epic at the towards the end. Depending on what we see here in episodes 8, 9, and 10, I don't know. But the bottom line is, I think some people are over-guessing, overestimating And if I created something that I thought was really nice, but then people were like shooting for the moon, it would give me anxiety. And I think that that's what some people are overshooting. What do you guys think? Leave it in the comments section down below.